Holy smokes, everyone. This eviction and housing crisis has just gone from bad to worse. Previously, the CDC put a ban on all evictions, then it was overruled by the Supreme Court, then the CDC overruled that apparently again to ban evictions again for another 2 months, but now the Supreme Court has overruled the CDC again, and now it's looking like the eviction ban is going to be lifted. So in this video, I'm going to be going over this latest breaking news information. I'll go over what this means for the housing market and what this means for renters and landlords. Okay, everyone, let's not waste any time. Let's get straight into it. Okay, so as we can see here, everybody, Supreme Court blocks Biden's administration latest ban on evictions. And people, this has just been really like a hot potato. It's just been going back and forth, back and forth. All they're doing is buying time. They don't seem to be fixing the problem, and I don't know what they're thinking by just delaying it another month. I don't know, are they hoping for a miracle that all the problems are just going to go away? Which of course they're definitely not. So the Supreme Court on Thursday lifted the Biden administration's latest federal ban on evictions, granting a bid from a group of landlords to block the pandemic-related protections for renters facing evictions in most of the country. So the divided court said that careful review of case makes clear that applications are virtually certain to succeed on the merits of the argument that the CDC has exceeded its authority. So what do you think, everyone? Do you think the CDC trying to overrule the Supreme Court and putting a ban on evictions is exceeding their authority? Let me know. So the court said that if a federally imposed eviction ban is to continue, Congress must specifically authorize it. The White House issued a statement late Thursday saying the Biden administration is disappointed the Supreme Court blocked the moratorium amid another surge in cases. Wow, so Joe Biden's administration is definitely having a tough time right now with the surge in cases, with the things going on in Afghanistan, and now this with this rental and housing crisis.
That was 4 days ago, 5 days ago.
Come on, man.
So the landlords and real estate agents from Alabama and Georgia asked the High Court last week to halt the latest iteration of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention (CDC) moratorium on certain residential evictions, returning a battle over the ban to the Supreme Court for the second time. So the landlords argued the CDC's ban, issued following a public protest from some congressional Democrats, was intended to buy time to distribute the rental assistance and mollify certain lawmakers, and warned the ban was harming landlords who were losing up to, wow, this is a big amount, everyone, $19 billion each month. I don't know about you, but this seems like a bit of a coincidence with everything that's going on right now with these big, huge investment funds like BlackRock, Blackstone, etc., getting into the housing market, and all these small mum and dad landlords. What it looks like is happening is they're getting squeezed out because, you know, they can't wait 2 years to get this money from the tenants. But you better believe these big, huge hedge funds, well, they can just call up the Fed and say, hey, man, can I have some money at, 0.25% interest? And then they'll get that money wired to the account like that. But of course, the mum and dad landlords don't have that luxury. And we're seeing more concentration of wealth going to the mega corporations, and we're seeing the middle class and the small businesses and small landlords getting squeezed out by these mega corporations because they just can't compete. And listen to this, everyone. This is another big issue. Not really saying it's the landlord's fault or the tenant's fault, but it's really the government's fault with this crisis that's happening right now. So Congress provided $46 billion for rental assistance in two relief packages, but the aid has been slow to reach renters struggling to pay rent during the pandemic. So the Treasury Department said Wednesday that just $5.1 billion has been dispersed so far, with 89% of the money approved by Congress for the federal rental aid program not yet distributed. Show me the money. Where's the money, everybody? Only 11% of the money has actually gone out to tenants. They've had months to distribute this money. And, they did distribute this money. Maybe they wouldn't need mass evictions. But of course, I don't know what they're doing, dragging their feet here. And what this is going to lead to is more people going on the streets. So then that's less tenants, that's less demand for rental properties. So this may have a weakening effect on rents. Rents may drop. That means yields drop. That means for investors, they may not want to pay these crazy house prices for these homes right now because one, it may have a tenant in there that's not paying rent. Or if there is a big tsunami of evictions, which who knows, I'm sure they'll find something to do last minute to stop these mass evictions. Well, if that does happen, well, then again, like I said, that's going to be less tenants in homes, less demand for rentals, and rents will fall. And also what this is going to mean for the housing market is we're going to have some landlords that are just fed up with trying to wait for this money. So they're going to have no choice but to sell their homes. And again, what we're seeing, I'll bring up right now, this is the US housing market supply. We can see in 2018, when interest rates were going up, housing supply went over 7 months worth of housing supply. And that's when you normally get a bear market or a correction in the housing market. But we can see housing supply absolutely plummeted in 2020 around September and October to just 3.5 months of supply. But now we can see supply is rising rapidly. And in July, hopefully we'll get the August data soon, housing supply has now gone over 6 months of supply on the market. And if there's foreclosures and eviction moratoriums or landlord selling, if this supply does go over 7 months of housing supply, that's when we'll start to see a correction in the market. And if this happens at the same time that the Federal Reserve does actually taper instead of just talking about it, if they do start tapering their mortgage-backed securities and their treasuries are buying, then that means yields are going to go up on those bonds, and then that means mortgage rates are going to go up. So we have rising mortgage rates and rising housing supply. Well, then hopefully we'll finally get that housing correction that is so desperately needed, so finally people can afford to get their home. So everyone, what they need to do is they need to get this money out to tenants and landlords to try to hopefully keep them in their homes. But unfortunately, some people will have to get evicted. Some people may have tried to take advantage of the situation to not pay rent. I'm sure some people will need that support and hopefully they do get it. But just delaying the problem by another month or another 2 months is just making the issue worse. But of course, what do you think, everyone? Do you think there is a way to fix this housing crisis? Let me know down below. Now, for all my loyal viewers and subscribers still watching, you're awesome. If you haven't already, please tap that like and subscribe button. I'll keep you up to the latest housing market data, stock market news, and global finance news. And if you're bored, I'll put up some other videos here. I'll see you all there.